Okay, so we're starting our first lesson of chapter 2. This whole entire lesson is on percents, and it's a lot of useful math that you're going to use through a lot of your high school and adult lives. So let's get started. 2 vocab words in this lesson. First word is of, and of means to multiply. You probably already know that, but we want to make a pretty big deal out of it because we don't want to forget when we see of in a problem, it's telling us to multiply 2 quantities together. The other word is a word that a lot of 7th graders tend to forget by the end of the school year. That word is commission. Commission is a percent of, oh, look at that of, a percent of a sale that's paid to the salesperson. So if I sold cars and I sold a car for $25,000, I don't get to keep all $25,000 because I just work for the car company. I would get a percent of that sale, and that's called commission. And if we see the word of here, of tells me that I'm going to be doing a little bit of multiplying to figure out what the commission is. Okay? So, notes: before we can multiply with percents, we must change the percent to a decimal. Trust me, this says decimal. There it is. All right. Not a very pretty letter D there. There we go. So I'm going to change the percent to decimal form, and of course we use D2P to get the job done for that. Okay, so let's do 3 examples. Our first example, what number is 45% of 20? So of tells us that we have to multiply, and don't forget this note here, before we can multiply by a percent, we have to change that percent into a decimal. So we're going to change 45% to decimal form. Remember, D2P tells us to move the decimal. This time we're changing from a percent to a decimal. So we move the decimal 2 places to the left. So grab your decimal, move it 1, 2 places to the left, and put it in front of the 4, and we get rid of the percent sign. So the math problem that we're doing here is really 45 hundredths times 20. 45 hundredths times 20. And remember, 45 hundredths has 2 numbers after the decimal, so we're going to put a 2 here. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Put your placeholder 0 down here. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. We add that up, and we get 900. And don't forget to move your decimal 2 places back into your answer. So the final answer here is 9. Now let's see why that should make sense. 45% is awfully close to 50%. And we know 50% is half. So if we were finding half of 20, the answer would be 10. So 50% of 20 is 10. So slightly less, 45% of 20 is slightly less than 10, which is 9. So that's why that makes sense when we check our answer there. Okay, let's do another one. What number is 160% of 95? So we have our of there. Of tells us to multiply, right? 160%, we have to change that to a decimal. So we're going to move our decimal point 2 places to the left. So grab your decimal, move it 1, 2 places, and get rid of your percent sign. So I'm going to write that as 1 6/10. Okay, I'm going to clean up this 0 at the end here because it's really not necessary. If you want to leave it in, that's fine, but your multiplication will look a little bit differently than mine. So what I need to do is I need to find 1 6/10 times 95. Okay, so 95, 16, right? Because remember, we write the number without the decimal in it. Because I got rid of the 0, that means that I only have 1 number after the decimal, so I only put a 1 in the box. If you left your 0 there, this 16 would be a 160, and we'd have 2 decimals in the box. So just be cautious of that. Getting rid of the decimal does change getting rid of the 0 does change your decimal. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 9 is 54. Plus 3 is 57. Placeholder 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 9 is 9. And we're going to add it up. We get 1,520. Don't forget to take that 1 and move your decimal back 1 place. So my final answer is 152. Let's see why that makes sense. 160% is bigger than 100%. So 100% would be this whole thing, all 95s here. 160% is that 95 plus 60% of that number. So 60% of 95 is this extra piece here, and we add those together, we get 152. Okay, we just did the shortcut by multiplying. Last one, example 3, we have to see a commission problem. We definitely want to understand how to solve for this. And commission is really just percent of a number. Tasha works at Murphy Jewelers and she makes 12% commission from her sales. Okay, so that means that whatever she sells, she gets to keep 12% of those sales. Okay, that's how we find her commission, 12% of whatever she sells. She sold a Rolex watch for $8,590. How much commission will she earn? So that means we have to find 12% of $8,590. So you know the deal. First thing we have to do is change my percent to a decimal. So I get 12 hundredths. And now I have to take 12 hundredths times 8,590. Let's get that done quickly here. I know this video is getting a little long. 8,590 times 12. 2 numbers after the decimal, so I put the 2 in the box. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. 2 times 8 is 16 plus 1 is 17. Okay, placeholder 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 5 is 5. And 1 times 8 is 8. Now we just add them up and move our decimal back into place. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just adding these up. And, oh boy, we get 103,080, but that's not factual, right? We have to remember to move our decimal 2 places back into the problem. So Tasha's commission is actually quite impressive. Tasha's commission is $1,030.80. That's a big chunk of the sale of that watch. So Tasha's getting a pretty nice commission check there. Okay, so percent of a number, of means to multiply. Don't forget to change your percent to a decimal, and commission is just a percent of the sales. Don't forget to do your practice problems and ask questions tomorrow in class.